Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. So basically, to sum up this first verse, James is saying, basically listen up, people who are making plans for this or that, on this or that day, in this or that city, whether it be for business or make cash, or I think it's just plans in general. We make those plans and dates and kind of expect to make them. It's completely out of our control. And so that's what James is kind of getting from this first verse. While you don't even know what will happen tomorrow, what is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. In the next verse, I think James is pretty much saying, whoa, pump the brakes now on that first verse of making plans, because you're making plans like you're promised tomorrow. And that's definitely not the case. And then the following verse kind of reminds you how fragile your life really is and how short it is, describing it as a mist. In King James Version, it uses the word vapor, which literally means small water particles suspended in air, just briefly until they dissipate. Instead, you ought to say, if it's the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. So, verse 15, I interpret this kind of like this. Instead of making those plans all willy-nilly and kind of expecting to reach them, we should ask the Lord if it be His will that we make it to those plans. We need to consider Him before we make those plans, actually before we do anything. And then in the next verse, he basically describes any of those arrogant schemes and boasting as evil. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. And so this last verse, I think really kind of ties it all up. And at first, reading this last verse, I kind of thought it was kind of out in left field in relation to the other verses. But when it basically says is that sin isn't always something you do. It can be something you don't do. And to tie that back into the rest of the verses is, you didn't consider God before you made those plans. You didn't consider God before you went to this city thinking you were going to make it. You didn't consider him before you started your journey to wherever, or whatever event you planned on. A verse that really kind of sticks out to me with this one, and it's a really long verse, so I won't read it all, but I encourage you to, is Matthew 25:40 through 46. And this is just part of it. Jesus is talking to his disciples about when he was hungry and they didn't feed him, when he was thirsty and they didn't give him something to drink. And they're basically like, the disciples anyway, are like, when did we do that to you, Lord? When did we not feed you? When did we not give you something to drink? When did we not clothe you? And then I think this is kind of how this verse relates to the last verse in James. Is Jesus says to his disciples, truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. And there's that do not do. So basically, it was sin because you did not do it. Sin's not always something you do, something you can not do. So, kind of some closing notes on this. A big takeaway, I think, is no matter what your plans are, consider the Lord first. Talk and pray with him about your plans, and always consider his will. Because it's only through his will that you'll be able to achieve those plans. Tell me what you think about this verse, and put it in the comments below, and maybe it'll help other people kind of interpret this verse. Anyway, I'll see you guys. Thanks.